On the Chelsea end, you seem very bullish. Are they now favourites for the title?
So I've put them as my favourite. I think they're going to win the title now that Lukaku is there. I was speaking to Jean-Luc Hariba, who does the commentary for French for Canal+, who used to be a player and now he's a really good player. He used to be a coach as well. And he said, like, every time I watch Chelsea, I'm amazed by the work that Tuchel has been doing. Let's not forget, he only arrived in January.
Yeah.
And I do think that when I watch them play, and again, it's Arsenal, so next weekend against Liverpool on Saturday, this is a hell of a game for them, and let's see how they do in that game, and 100%. But I still think it's fascinating to see the work that is done, those players. When you think that you're still on the bench, you had so much talent. I mean, the depth in the squad. We talked about squad building for Arsenal and the mistake that were made before, or now, or recently. But I do think that at times Chelsea don't get the credit they deserve. And of course, Marina Granovskaya and everybody involved in that club didn't always make the right choices. But when you look at their squad now, the depth and the quality and the quantity even, you're thinking like, wow. And then you see a kid like Livramento being man of the match for Southampton against United, and he would not even have come near that team at Chelsea. So you think like, wow, they clearly do a lot of things right. And I guess they get the credit and the rewards that they deserve by winning those games. And I think that if they're not champions, they would be very, very close from it for me.
I think one of the keys with Chelsea at this from that side, because they have accumulated a ton of players, not just the young players, many of whom have been loaned out, others will be loaned out. And these are very, very talented players. I mean, even guys in other teams, like Jamal Musiala was a Chelsea guy.
Yeah, of course.
It's crazy.
Declan Rice.
They're going to have to monetize some of these. I do think financially.
More than a Mark Gay at 20 million, more than a Gallagher will leave next summer for the same amount of money. So what do you mean monetize more than that even?
Well, because these people like Danny Drinkwater, people like Ross Barkley are there, right? And I think they want to go further. Now, Emerson's gone. We're going to talk about him a little bit later. Bakayoko is likely to move as well. We're going to talk about him later. But they're in a situation right now where there's no money elsewhere. So you're talking about continuously loaning these guys rather than actually getting money back. That is the one thing that I wonder if at some point, chickens come home to roost financially. We don't know what financial fair play is going to look like. We don't know. There's a lot that we don't know. That would be my one concern. There's something Chelsea need to be mindful of. And having guys who are just priced out of the market because they make too much money, right? So you can't sell them.
Yes.
The other thing I was just wondering about this, and we've had a ton of praise for Tuchel and what he's done defensively. I do look at this defense, though, and you can look at it both ways. You can say Tuchel's a genius because Kurt Zouma a couple years ago was a bit of a laughing stock, right?
Yeah.
Andreas Christensen was considered soft and weak and a bit effete, right? Rudiger couldn't get into the team under Lampard and still hasn't extended his contract as far as I know. Azpilicueta, after having been great, looked older and is older now. He's 33. He's doing it with this group of defenders. And I know Chalobah played on week one. That if we went back a couple of years and they said, Chelsea are going to win the Champions League and be Jules' favourites for the Premier League with this group of players, people would have laughed at you.
Yeah, definitely.
So are these actually good players, or is Tuchel doing some smoke and mirrors work with these guys?
Both, I think. I really do, both. And I think I said to you when he signed, the people forgot in Paris as well that he made that team really good.
Thiago Silva, I was leaving out. Again, all the love in the world for Thiago Silva, but he's 36.
55. And I do think that he's doing great. And again, I think the back three helps and certainly suits this squad and the way he wants to play perfectly. And I just think that he finds the right formula and also to know exactly what to do with those players and what to expect from them. You don't expect the same from Christensen than you do with Rudiger or with Azpilicueta or Chalobah or Zouma. And I just think that he's so good at getting the best of what those players can do more than any other, not any other manager, but a lot of other managers who sometimes would ask, and you feel like it, ask something from a player that he can't really do. So he ends up by, trying to overplay or trying to do things that is out of his comfort zone completely. And I think that's, again, counterproductive completely. But the Chelsea team, even I look at Kovacic, and there was a time where even Chelsea fans were, Kovacic, he's not a bad player, but, he's a Serb, he can come off the... Kovacic is an amazing player. He's an amazing. Whether you start him or he comes on as a sub or whatever. But I watched him yesterday, and the intelligence, the movement, the momentum, the energy.
That pass to James?
I was like, wow. And he potentially can only be a sub because Kante and Jorginho could well be your first two choices in those positions, and then Kovacic will spend most of the season on the bench.
Jorginho, by the way, the other guy who was rubbish, not good enough, too slow, too fouling people,
It's not a dig at Lampard at all. He has his ideas. He tried, and some worked, some didn't work. But I'm like, wow, this is so much the next step. I think it's scary.
They do, I think, need to start thinking a little bit further down the line. They've been linked with Jules Koundé. I would assume, they would probably look at midfield and be like, all right, maybe Billy Gilmore develops, maybe he doesn't. But, a couple years down the line, they're going to need a new set of midfielders. Chalobah, I think people have told me his future is actually in midfield. And then obviously you're looking to make signings and move forward.
Definitely.
But for the time being, I'm with you. I think
the future looks really bright.
The future does look really, really solid.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.